Have you ever been told you weren't good enough, only to prove everyone wrong in the most spectacular way? That's exactly what happened to Michael Reeves, and his story might just change the way you think about second chances. If this resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that remind us all of the power of perseverance. Michael stared at his reflection in the rearview mirror, straightening his tie one last time. The dark circles under his eyes betrayed the sleepless night he'd spent preparing for this interview. At 42, he never imagined he'd be starting over, but life had other plans. 3 years ago, his wife Lisa had lost her battle with cancer, leaving him to raise their 8-year-old daughter Emma alone. The medical bills had drained their savings, and his previous company had downsized during the pandemic. Now, this interview at Horizon Technologies was his best shot at stability. "You've got this, Dad," Emma had told him that morning, her small hands adjusting his collar with the seriousness of someone much older. "Remember what Mom always said, you're the smartest person in any room." The memory gave him strength as he walked into the gleaming glass headquarters of Horizon Technologies. The company was a rising star in software development, and the senior project manager position would be perfect for his 15 years of experience. The receptionist greeted him with a practiced smile and directed him to the 10th floor. The interview panel consisted of 3 people, the HR director, the department head, and a young woman who introduced herself as Vanessa Chen, VP of Operations. Michael noticed immediately that she seemed distracted, checking her phone repeatedly during his introduction. "Your resume is impressive," the HR director began, "but we're looking for someone who can bring fresh perspectives to our team. Someone who understands the current technological landscape." Michael recognized the coded language. Too old. Too traditional. He leaned forward, determined to prove his relevance. "I've led teams through 3 major technological transitions. I understand that adaptation is constant in this industry." The department head nodded politely, but Michael could see the decision had already been made. Vanessa barely looked up from her phone, her brow furrowed in concentration. "We appreciate your time, Mr. Reeves," the HR director said after 30 minutes of increasingly perfunctory questions. "We'll be in touch." Michael knew what that meant. As he gathered his portfolio, he noticed Vanessa frantically typing on her phone. "Is everything all right?" he asked, surprising himself with his boldness. She looked up, startled. "I'm sorry for my distraction. We're having a crisis with our flagship project. The Meridian system launch is in 3 days, and we've just discovered a critical integration flaw that's causing data corruption. Our team has been working for 24 hours straight without a solution." Michael hesitated at the door. This was his moment to walk away with dignity, but something made him stay. "The Meridian system, that's your enterprise resource planning software, right? I read about it in Tech Quarterly." Vanessa nodded, surprised by his knowledge. "If it's a data corruption issue during integration, have you checked for timestamp conflicts in the database synchronization protocol?" Michael asked. The room fell silent. Vanessa stared at him. "How did you know that's exactly what we're struggling with?" Michael smiled slightly. "I faced a similar issue at Westfield Systems 5 years ago. It nearly tanked our biggest product launch. The problem isn't in your code, it's in how your system handles time zone conversions during data transfers." Vanessa stood up abruptly. "Can you show me what you mean?" 20 minutes later, Michael was in a conference room surrounded by exhausted developers, explaining his solution on a whiteboard. His hands moved confidently as he sketched out the architecture, pointing out the flaw and proposing a simple but elegant fix. "This could work," said the lead developer, a young man who had initially regarded Michael with skepticism. "It's so obvious now that you've pointed it out." Vanessa watched with growing amazement as Michael guided the team through implementing the solution. By evening, they had tested it successfully. The Meridian system was saved. As the relieved team dispersed, Vanessa approached Michael. "You just solved in hours what our entire team couldn't figure out in days." Michael shrugged. Sometimes it takes an outside perspective. Why didn't you mention this expertise during your interview? You didn't ask, Michael said simply. And honestly, I didn't think it mattered. I got the impression you were looking for someone younger. Vanessa had the grace to look embarrassed. We were about to make a terrible mistake. The senior project manager position is yours if you want it, but actually, I'd like to discuss creating a new role, Chief Solutions Architect. We need someone with your experience and problem-solving abilities. Michael felt a wave of emotion. I appreciate that, but I need to be honest about my situation. I'm a single father. My daughter is my priority. I need predictable hours and some flexibility. To his surprise, Vanessa nodded. My mother raised me alone after my father died. I understand. We can make it work. That evening, Michael drove home with a job offer letter on the passenger seat, a position with better pay and more flexibility than he'd dared hope for. As he pulled into the driveway, he saw Emma waiting at the window, her face lighting up when she spotted his car. How did it go? She asked as he walked through the door. Michael picked her up in a hug, spinning her around. Remember how Mom always said I was the smartest person in the room? Emma nodded, her eyes wide. Today, I finally believed her. 6 months later, Michael stood in front of the entire company at Horizon's annual meeting. The Meridian system had become their most successful product launch ever, and Michael's team had developed 3 new innovations that were revolutionizing the industry. Success isn't about age or circumstances, he said as he accepted the Employee of the Year award. It's about perseverance and bringing your unique perspective to the table. In the front row, Emma watched her father with pride, sitting beside Vanessa, who had become a regular dinner guest at their home. Life had taken an unexpected turn, but Michael had learned that sometimes rejection is just the universe's way of redirecting you to where you truly belong. As he looked out at the audience, he thought about all the people who might be facing their own moments of rejection and doubt. The greatest solutions often come from those who have faced the greatest challenges, he said. Because when you've had to rebuild your life, you see possibilities others might miss. That night, as Michael tucked Emma into bed, she asked, "Are you happy, Dad?" Michael thought about the journey that had brought him here, the loss, the struggle, the rejection, and finally, the recognition. "Yes," he said truthfully. "I'm happy. And I think Mom would be proud of both of us." "She always said you were special," Emma murmured sleepily. "We all are," Michael replied, kissing her forehead. "Sometimes we just need someone to see it." As Michael sat on the edge of Emma's bed, watching her drift off to sleep, he reflected on how quickly life could change. One moment of courage, choosing to speak up instead of walking away defeated, had altered their entire future. He thought of all the other single parents out there, fighting their own battles, facing their own rejections, and hoped his story might inspire them to trust their instincts and value their unique perspectives. Because sometimes, the person who doesn't fit the mold is exactly the person who can break through it, solving problems others can't even see. And sometimes, the biggest rejections lead to the most unexpected opportunities, if you have the courage to stay in the room just a little longer. If Michael's story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that remind us all that our greatest setbacks often precede our greatest comebacks. Share in the comments a time when rejection led you to something better, because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.